Nicole Niel, Arlesienne to the core, female sculptor and professor of design, is also a defender and expert of the Provençal tradition. That has completely disappeared in the hairstyle, the two headbands which cross at the back. Today the girls do their own hair and completely hide this part. They forget that it ought to be seen, that it appears between the two headbands. This is a wig which is going to show how an Arlesienne does her hair. So you have here, I know it's a bit surrealist, but you have a demonstration of the movement to put the hair into the form of this headband, which gives this twist, and which is first fixed by a comb, and that gives the hairstyle. After, to be sure, there's a further stage for the construction of the hairstyle. To begin with, the hair is parted in the middle, from front to back, and twisted.
Jusque sur l'arrière de la nuque, et les cheveux qui sont pris en torsade et tournés vers l'avant. Voilà, là vous avez le déroulement complet du geste.
And that is the second stage. There, the second stage is a little more advanced because you see the hair has been assembled on either side of the comb, which is now hidden at the back.
Qui est maintenant caché avec le croisement à l'arrière
by the crossing over the headbands.
We
call that the twisted headband. The whole thing is held in place by hairpins in a special way, and then we cover the comb with lace, which is called the over hairstyle, which when it's done, the hairdo will be finished. But it's an ancient hairstyle. It's a hairstyle that owes its origins to the middle of the 18th century. It wasn't like that at the beginning. And little by little it evolved, and it is said that it fixed its present look like that at the end of the 19th century. In 1900, women had their hair dressed like that, and we have kept the style alive with the Arlesian ladies. So that serves as a reference when we wear the costume today. This is the third stage. This time we put on the Arlesian ribbon, which is a very well-known part of the Arlesian hairdo. It's a velvet made on a satin base. It's a silk velvet. The velvet is a cut velvet. They don't make them anymore. These are the last that exist, ribbons that were woven perhaps at the beginning of the century, or perhaps at the end of the 19th century. The ribbon is placed in a special way. So we start by unrolling it around the hair, which we saw just now, and we pick it up under the hair, and then you put in special pins in a particular way in order to get the desired result. For the moment, the ribbon is left open to show how it is put inside. This is the fourth stage. That is one way of fixing the ribbon. There are several others. Here the ribbon is turned down, and now it is held here by a little pin which finishes the whole hairdo. There are other ways of placing the ribbon, which is a bit open here. It's a question of individual choice, which follows the profile of the wearer, and you can choose the length of this part, called the guidon, which can be shorter or longer, or at an angle, or whatever you like. And in fact, it's very important as far as the height of the hair. The little hairs at the front, the height of the hairband, held up by this little pin. You see, all these details allow the Arlesienne, depending on her face, to find a hairstyle that suits her very well. And the way the ribbon is placed enhances the beauty of her face. It's not that all the hairstyles are stereotyped, and that all the women are coiffured in the same way.
Chaque femme, tout
Not
en
at
ayant la
all.
même construction.
All have the same
Chaque femme
construction, but
va
each woman
essayer
tries to
de
cultivate her
cultiver sa
personality,
personnalité, de
to
chercher
look
ce
for
qui-
ways
ce
to
qui la
improve
met
it.
en valeur.
That's the
Le
goal.
but,
But
c'est
it's not
ça.
possible to have the
Mais
costumes
c'est
without
pas
the
possible
hairstyle. Ah no,
d'avoir le costume
neither
sans
one
le-
nor
sans
the
la
other.
coiffe.
Ah non,
Neither in
ni
one
l'un ni
sense
l'autre.
nor the other.
Ni
C'est
dans
vraiment-
un sens, ni dans l'autre. Mais aujourd'hui,
But today
c'est
it's
vrai
true
que
that if you wear the
si on porte
costume,
le costume,
if you
on
wear the
porte la coiffe,
hairstyle,
on a les
and
cheveux
you have
longs,
long hair,
c'est un tout. Parce qu'en fait, c'est
It's a
vraiment
whole because
quelque
it's
chose de
truly
très
very
traditionnel.
There are two very
Il y a
important
deux choses
things.
très importantes
On one
ici.
side is
D'un côté, le
folklore, which
folklore,
does its
qui fait
thing
sa
like
vie,
folklores all over
et
the
qui est comme
world,
tous les
everywhere.
folklores dans tous les pays, toutes les régions. Et puis, il y a
And
la
then there
culture
is traditional
traditionnelle qui est vécue
culture
par les
as
gens
lived by the
du
people,
cru,
or the
où
costumes
les
which
costumes
pass
se
from mother
passent
to
de mère en
daughter,
fille,
the jewels,
les
the
bijoux,
ribbons, which are the
les
elements
rubans,
which form
qui
part
sont
of
des
the
éléments qui
family,
font partie de la
and which
famille,
carries
et qu'on
on,
se
and it has
transmet.
absolutely nothing to
Et ça
do
n'a
with
rien à voir
folklore,
avec le
absolutely
folklore.
nothing.
Absolument rien.
There
Il y
are
a des
women who
femmes
wear
qui
their
ne portent le costume
costumes
qu'une fois
one or
ou
two
deux
times a
fois
year,
par an,
that's all.
c'est tout.
But
Et
they
qui le
wear
portent
them
toutes les
every
années.
year. It's really
C'est vraiment
something
quelque chose de
important.
presque
That's almost a
rituel.
ritual.
Et
And
ça,
I think
je
it's
pense
well
que c'est
worth
bien de
preserving.
Mais
But
pour
what reason
quelle
do they have
raison
for
il
dressing
a
like
dit
that?
ça?
Il y a
There's
une
a
part
large
de
part of
coquetterie
coquetry, I think,
énorme,
which is why lots
et
of
qui
young
attire
girls dress
beaucoup de
like
jeunes
that
filles
today.
aujourd'hui. C'est que, en fait,
The way
bon,
of
la
dressing
mode
today
vestimentaire aujourd'hui,
sometimes perhaps
quelque part,
frustrates them,
peut-être les frustre.
and that the
Et le
Arlesian
costume
costume is a
d'Arlésienne, c'est
costume
le
for a
costume de
princess.
princesse,
It's
c'est
a
le
special
costume
costume.
d'apparat.
So it's an
Et
occasion
donc,
to
c'est
become
une
another
occasion pour
woman
elle
for a day.
d'entrer dans un autre personnage, d'être une autre femme, pour un jour. Et je
There are
crois
an
que ces
enormous number of
occasions,
young
elles
girls who wear the
Il y a
costumes,
énormément de jeunes filles
Ça, c'est
toutes
intéressant.
petites
Ça,
qui,
c'est
qui
intéressant.
portent le costume. Et généralement,
Generally,
quand
when
elles
they
l'ont
wear it
porté,
first, they are
à
4 or
l'âge
5 or
de
6 or
4,
7
5,
years
6
old.
ans, 7 ans. Elles voient les grandes qui sont
They see the grown-ups in all their finery,
elles
and they
n'ont qu'une
want to be
envie,
big,
c'est de
and
grandir
they want
pour
to wear the
porter le
costume and the
costume
ribbon.
avec le ruban.
Ouais.
Elles n'ont
They
pas le
don't
droit
have
de
the
porter
right
le
to
ruban
wear the ribbon until
jusqu'à
they're
14,
14 or
15 ans.
15 years
Ah
old.
bon.
Ah oui, là, ça par contre, c'est
On the other hand, it's a ritual, the drawing up of the hair. They have a hairstyle which is called the tie hairstyle, and this style is used by a little girl until she becomes a woman. At that moment, she wears a
Et
ribbon.
alors, à ce moment-là, elle porte le ruban.
On the
Donc,
ladder
c'est une
of life.
progression comme ça, dans l'échelle de la vie.
And then there is the third style, which exists and is seldom worn in the history of
qui est
costume,
porté
and that's the
relativement
marriage
peu
costume.
dans l'histoire,
This
en
is
tout cas, du
completely
costume,
in
c'est le
lace,
costume
which
de la
is made
mariée.
specially for the day of the
Puisque c'est une
religious
coiffe,
ceremony.
Qui est
It is
toute
a
en
costume
dentelle,
we've seen worn by
et
the
qui est
Queen of
fabriquée
Arles
pour le jour
on
du
the day of her
mariage
enthronement. She
C'est
wears
le
the
costume
marriage
qu'on voit
costume.
aujourd'hui porté par la reine d'Arles. Le jour, en tout cas, de son intronisation, elle porte ce costume de mariée.
Now
On va
we're going
commencer
to
par
place